This doesn't make any sense. They're like these two are shiny and like they're all wrapped like individually, and these three just were like not individually wrapped. What? And welcome to Copics on Canvas, my little video on how to color with Copics on canvas. I am extremely impressed with the quality of these canvas boards I bought at Michael's. They're mounted. They're very heavy and heavy-duty quality. They're hard. They're not very flexible. That's awesome. And it was $3 for this pack of 5. But there's like 3 that were like just not individually wrapped, and these 2 were. So that's confusing me. But it also has on the back this nice little thingy here, name thing. And I'm not being like sponsored by Michael's to talk about their canvases. It's just really good canvases. So I'm just gonna write Copic Tips Copics. The date is 2/18/2014, and we'll think of a title later. So you just put your little thing there. Now I'm going to go ahead and sketch all my drawing out on the front, and if you're following along with the video and working on your canvas as I work on mine, and don't worry, unlike some videos like the Prismacolor one with the drawing on wood, I am extremely experienced at doing this kind of thing. I do it a lot. So if you're following along, there's not going to be any point where I say, oops, if you're doing this, you know, don't do that. And then you did it along with me. That's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to go into freeze frame or whatever it's called, speed it up while I sketch out my drawing. See you guys. And as you can see, I drew a glass jar with the pedestal thing, and I'm calling it Jar of Hearts, because you know that song where it's like, who do you think you are, running around leaving scars. Yeah, I'm a great singer. Anyway though, so yeah, this is how it looks. Yeah, I am going to start by coloring the stuff in the foreground, so this pedestal, and then we will continue. So for this pedestal, I want to do some very light colors, so I'll have neutral gray number 2, cool gray number 3, neutral gray number 4, and cool gray number 5. So, I think these colors should work. We'll use the lightest color first, and the trick is when you sketch out your drawing, always before you erase, first thing, make sure you have a clean eraser side, so I'm just going to use, what's this? No, can't use that. Let's just use the back, whatever, to clean the eraser. Yeah, so now you have a nice clean eraser bit there. So there you go. You got a nice white eraser. And if you're wondering, these erasers are Strathmore, I believe. Unless they don't make erasers, and they're probably not Strathmore. But I feel like they are. So now, before we start coloring this bit with Copics, we're going to erase it. Don't worry if the pencil smudges a little bit. It doesn't really matter. Just going to erase this whole thing. But the goal is to still have some lines showing through. go. So we've erased it now, and it looks terrible, but it doesn't matter, because now we're taking our N2, and we're just going to do a base coat all over everything. And the way I hold it is a lot like a paintbrush. I'm just going to sort of brush it in. I need to replace this nib, but whatever. And since this is my lightest color in the whole thing, I'm doing it first. If your lightest color is maybe the background, then go for the background first. I wouldn't suggest doing the background first. So go for your lightest color in the foreground, do that. Then go for your lightest color in the background, and do that. That's sort of the rule of thumb with Copic, so if you didn't know, the rule is sort of always go light color first. Just gonna use this to erase this. There we go. So now we've got our base color of the pedestal, and it's still not looking so hot. But that's why we're coming in with C3 now. We're gonna just still holding it like a paintbrush. This is pretty much watercolor painting because Copics dry really fast on canvas, and then you can sort of just run your finger over it and it's fine. But they do not. They can anytime. This is what's different about them than watercolors. Well, actually, no, they're actually pretty similar to watercolors in this sense. At any time, if you want to ever like add something or take something away from your picture, you can. The colors are always still, let's say, editable. Like, so you can edit them at any time with this way of painting. That's why I like it so much. So there we've sort of shaded in one side. Now we'll go with our next darkest color, which is N4. Just going to do some shading. So we're just going to shade this whole general area. I'm sorry, I sort of go silent when I'm really focusing. Now, the final darkest color, C5. Just going to darken it a little bit. The thing is, the reason why I'm mixing between groups is A, because I don't have that many gray tones. B, because I really like the way, the effect it gives. Like, it can make it look like an even darker crevice, a deeper kind of crevicey area. So I like that effect it does. And now that we've got all our colors laid down, we're going to go back with N4. Just sort of wake them up a little bit. Drag them out. Now we're going to go with our C3 and drag out that N4. I call it dragging out. Really, it's just blending, but when we do it on canvas, I call it dragging it out. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. It'll look better when all these smudges here are invisible. Now let's move on to the heart itself. Let's put away all of our grays. There we go. Now for the heart. We're going to need some dark reds. Here I have R59 Cardinal. I want to do some blues as well, make it a little weird. I actually believe there is some blue in a human heart. Okay, I can't get this out. I just want you guys to see. Hashtag the struggle. Like, oh, now that I'm filming, it starts to come out. Pulls everything out around it. Okay. There we go. So now we have B28 Royal Blue. I'm just going to get the blending colors for that one. B24 Sky Blue and B26 Cobalt Blue. Some more reds. R29 Lipstick Red. R05 Salmon Red. I never say salmon. What? And black. 100 black. I don't know. These should be good. I've never colored a heart before. I've only done it in like black or all blue, so this will be interesting. I'm going to start with my lightest color. Like I said, rule of thumb. Oh, this is very orange on canvas. The colors are a lot lighter on canvas, you'll notice. So pick your colors darker than you want them to come out. So there we go. We have the main body of the heart done. And now I'm going to put in, using our lightest blue, the heart vessel-y things. This is going to look pretty cool. I like the way this is turning out. Sorry about that. So, I haven't done anything since the camera spasmed, but this is where we're at. Now I'm going to take B28 because I found that it's actually lighter than B26. So B28 is going to be this artery. That's what they're called. There we go. Now, the fun part, shading a tiny little heart. First I'm going to take my cardinal and do in these blood veins. There we go. And now what I want to do is shade it some. So let's get R29. And when you go to shade things, the base layer will sort of just fall off a little bit. So this is really, it's kind of like a matter of preference, like what effect do you want? And if that's the effect you're going for, then this is the perfect technique for you. I'm actually also going to grab R24. I should have grabbed it from the start, but I was being silly, so. So we're just gonna, there we go, that's better. So here's what we have so far. And still gonna, just working on blending in the R24 to even out the tone a little bit. Now we can go back with the R29 and just darken up the very edges. Now finally our R59, we can redo those blood vessels to get them a little bit more noticeable. There we go. Oh, had the thing below the screen. There we go. Now I'm going to go with my B24. Now this should be pretty dry. I can do a little bit of shading before I come with my B26. There we go. I'm actually also going to grab my B79 iris to shade this one over here. And now we're going to take B28 and sort of just blend that in. Then go back with a little more iris. Then come in with our, where is it? B24. Blend this in. There we go. So we have our heart. And now for the glass, which is going to be pretty tricky. We have to give it the effect of being glass. So I think in this occasion I'm going to use Instead of using a multi-liner on canvas, by the way, I like to use Sharpies. They work a lot better for me. I'm going to use a Sharpie to just outline where the glass goes, so it's a little more eminent or obvious, or whatever word you like. So, I'm just sort of remaining silent at this point, because if anything distracted me, this masterpiece would be ruined. It'd be like drawing a mustache on the Mona Lisa. And everything in this picture is a little wonky and lopsided, and that's sort of purposeful, sort of not. Like, it's sort of just a part of my style that exists, and so I sort of just let it exist. So yeah, if you were wondering about the VIT. Now for the background. I'm going to take my handy-dandy eraser and erase these guidelines I had. There we go. And now we are going to use, alright, let's clean some of this up. We're going to use E19 and E27 to start the background. Okay, so, I'm trying to think what should we use first here. I'm going to go with E19 because it's lighter, but so yeah, I'm just going to sort of go along these outlines that I have set for myself. I don't like too much white on a composition, unless it's meant to be that way. So I try to get a lot of background and stuff in. So we have that. Backgrounds are really easy here too. You don't have to worry too much about, or with this style, I mean, you don't have to worry about even tone. Because, especially with the background I'm going for, because if you saw my drawing stone with Copic's video, then you'll know I am doing brick here. And it is, the colorless blender is like a magic eraser when you're using canvas with Copics. So you'll find that it's just one of my favorite mediums, because I think it's really cool using a colorless blender on canvas, because it sort of just, I get that colorless blender is like, it works really well on paper, but on canvas, it just sort of like, it's like, clear the area, people, and then all the ink is just like, oh no, what am I on? Oh my god, I'm like, oh, well, and here's what I meant about all those little eraser smudges becoming invisible. I tend to do dark backgrounds or patterny backgrounds, so they sort of just fade into the woodwork. So here we have our first layer of background, and now I'm going to go ahead and very carefully do it inside the jar. Just so we have that all done up. And remember that whatever this ink touches that I'm doing right now, it could completely smudge apart the heart itself. So I have to be very careful. Alright, and this is looking pretty good, I think. Oh, I forgot a line on the jar, I'm just now realizing. There we go. So here's what we have so far. Now, the fun part. Take our colorless blender, chisel end, and start making brick pattern. So very carefully, we're just gonna make ourselves a brick shape, and that's what I mean. It's just like, it just clears the whole area. And actually, I'm going to need a piece of paper, because every now and then you're going to need to clean off the tip of your colorless blender, because it's really just taking all the ink onto the nib. So it's just... So we're just sort of clearing it off. I'm going to go into time lapse to make these bricks. Okay, guys? Back in a bit. So we finished the brick. I also went ahead and just did the floor. I did some just straight lines with C8. And so we have our almost finished piece. If you've been following along with me and making your own masterpiece on canvas with your Copics, please send it to me. Just email it to me. But type in, just like send me a message that says like my Copic on canvas drawing. Because if you didn't know, I'm holding a giveaway right now, and people are emailing their pictures to me for the entry. So if you sent me that, unless you want to enter it, if you want to enter it, just say my entry or something like that. So yeah, now for our final step, I am going to take some E's, and by that I mean some like browns. So here's the browns I have. I don't really want to read them all off right now because it's a lot of work. There we go, focus. So we're going to start with our lightest, which is E18. And what I'm doing now is I'm just sort of filling this white border in. So this is going to look sort of like a doorway once I'm done here. So we got the side posty things. We've got those in. Oh, just want to. If you're using a mounted canvas, like a traditional mounted canvas, as opposed to canvas board like I am, then feel free to like cover over the edges of your canvas. Like I have an example here. This little practice picture I did with a tiny canvas. I go over the edges like that. Feel free to do that. It makes it look very professional and stuff. So we've got the sides done. Now I'm just going to do the top real quick. My goal is to have this look like maybe an exhibit in a museum or something. Maybe it's the Warlock's Harry Potter reference there for all you Potterheads. So now that we have that, I'm going to take, oh, out of focus. There we go. I'm going to take E27, there we go. Just do some lines. Wood is probably the easiest thing to draw, in my opinion. Oops, don't have that bit covered. There we go. With Copics, because it's really just a bunch of lines. It can be extremely realistic too. I'm gonna also go along the bottom here with this. Oops. Mistakes happen. All you gotta do now is just... And you see how this is perfectly dry now. But then when we take the marker that I used to do that portion of the floor... Gonna have to go back and darken up the floor now that I've done that bit, just to even it out a little bit. And you see, I think the floor looks even better now. I like it when mistakes happen. It's sort of... I think mistakes are God holding your hand and forcing you to slip up so that you can end up improving it. Oh, such a beautiful quote. It's very eloquent. So I've got the floor. It looks a lot better in my opinion. Now we're going to take... Let's go with E49. Oh, wrong end. So, yeah, there's not much to comment on right now, just some lines in different colors. We're so close to being done, I can taste it. So we're nearly there. Excuse my stuffy nose, we just have to do these top two corners, and I'm going to do them like this. Let's take this. So I'm going to sort of make them like support beamy kind of things. Support beamies. One thing I like about having a black desk, I can just draw all over it and it doesn't really show up. Now I have to blend it in to everything else with like the lines. Oops, forgot a bit. I'm like scatterbrained today. I'm just all over the place. And now what I'm gonna have to do is, where did that come from? E19, where did I put it? There you are. Because that's the color I used for the background, and I'm gonna have to fill in these areas. There we go. So now just gotta go do the same little brick treatment here. There we go. And now I just gotta clear this off on a piece of paper. This is all I'm doing on the paper, by the way. Every time my hand sort of left the screen on the speeded up portion, this is just what I was doing, clearing off my Copic tip. There we go. Oh wait. There we go. And now we have our finished Copics on canvas. And I hope that you learn to love this style like I do. I've never seen anybody else do it, and if I have, I didn't realize it was Copics. But yeah, I love this style, and I think it looks really cool. It looks like paint, actually. So, there's my finished piece. Ciao for now, guys.